So welcome back guys. In this particular session, I'm going to start with the water, right? So all of us know that how important the water is in our life, right? So we'll be talking about the water, and I am actually subdividing this series in the water basically. In the first one, which I'm going to talk about in this particular session, this will be the wall, and then in the upcoming chapters, we'll be talking about the chlorination of the water and the methods of the chlorination of the water, right, and all of those things. So that I can reduce the duration, right? So here in this particular session, we will be talking about the wells, right? And what are the different types of wells, what are the major salient features of the wells and all, right? So if I will say very frankly, right, over here in the PSM guys, water topic is very important. And they are very frequently asking us about different kind of wells, because wells are very important to understand, because in India, if you talk about, and majorly if you talk about in the rural areas guys, even till date we are using the wells. In the rural areas, still the people are struggling for the water, and their main source of water is still the wells, right? So we'll be talking about different kinds of wells. Okay, don't worry about that. So that's why this topic in itself is very important from the PSM point of view, and for our general knowledge as well. Okay, it will not be a burdensome topic for you or for all of you guys. It will be interesting topic to listen. You just need to sit back and relax and just listen the topic. It will be very easy for you to understand, right? So here we are going to talk about the wells. In the very first one, let me talk about some of the basic things about the water, and then we'll go into the wells, right? Okay, so here you can see some of the salient features, right, that what WHO says about the water, right? What are the terms and conditions when you can say that this is the safe water and or this might be the unsafe water? So what is the definition, what are the important salient features of the safe water or the wholesome water, right? So if you talk about the safe or the wholesome water guys, WHO says that the water should be free from the pathogenic agents. Obviously they should not be containing any kind of infectious agents and all. It should be free from the harmful chemical substances, right? It should be having the pleasant taste, right? And it should be actually free from any kind of color or any kind of odor. Usually it is not having the color. I would not say not having the color. It's just that it is not having the white, black, or this kind of color. If you're seeing this kind of color in the water, for example, it is kind of greenish in nature, or some other kind of color you are seeing, obviously you can understand that this is not the pure water. Obviously some impurities might be there, right? This particular water is infected. So this water should be usable for the domestic purposes also, right? Along with the water, yes, obviously we are using it for the drinking purpose, but along with that we are having several features, right? We have to wash the clothes, utensils, and many other household things are there which we can't do, which we can't perform without water, right? So it should be suitable for all of these factors. Then water is said to be polluted or contaminated if any of these factors will not be fulfilled, right? WHO says that if any of these factors will not be fulfilled, then this water will be called as either contaminated water or the polluted water, right, or the unsafe water. Okay guys, now the fact point over here which I wanna highlight over here is that if you talk about India guys, still 20% of the diseases are related to the water only, right? Be it some kind of food poisoning, be it some kind of diarrheal kind of diseases. There are many kind of diseases. There could be the salmonellosis, there could be the shigellosis, there could be amoebiasis, there could be many other kind of diseases which are still related to the water. And due to the drinking of the contaminated water, there are many kind of diseases are still happening. Okay, and especially in the rural areas, mainly in the urban areas as well, but especially in the rural areas, due to the drinking of the contaminated water, right, they might be having different kinds of problems, and in severe cases there might be the death as well, right? So if you talk about in itself, 20% of the diseases are still water related, right? 20% of the diseases are water related, right? It might be diarrhea, it might be food poisoning, it might be several other diseases, right? I'm talking about water related diseases. Okay, water related, fine. Second important point, if you talk about the 20% diseases, they are actually water related, and 3.5 lakhs deaths are actually registered under the age group of 5 years, right? So very strange, but still this is the data which we are getting. Basically the 3.5 lakhs under 5 deaths in India, they are actually water associated, right? Out of all under 5, I would say under 5 mortalities, right? Under 5 age, I mean 5 year is the age, under 5 years of age, if I will be concluding all the mortality, among those 3.5 lakhs are deaths are actually happening due to the water related problems. Okay, so 3.5 lakhs, this data might be asked, I don't know, but that is the thing. So 3.5 lakhs under 5 mortality, right? Under 5 mortality in India are due to water related diseases, right? Water related diseases. Okay, so this is also very interesting data which you need to remember over here. And one more important thing, right? I'm just changing the color with that. The national loss, how much national loss we are actually having. National loss means as far as the GDP is concerned, how much the value of money we are losing because of this problem of the transportation of the water. In the rural areas, the water source, mainly their water source is well, right? We'll talk about different kinds of wells. Now, the distance of the well from the house, the distance of the water source from the house is also very important, because if whatever the time they will be spending to transport this water, they will be going to the water source and then they will be bringing this water back to their homes. So the time they will be spending over here, and that much time might be consumed somewhere else for the betterment of the country or something else, right? So they are wasting their time, in a sense that if we will be talking in terms of money over here, the national loss of around 150 million US dollars, right? So that much whole money is there for for what? For just the transportation of water source, transportation of water from the water source to the house, right? Or to the household. So national loss, if you will talk about national loss of around 150 million dollars, 150 million US dollars, right? And in what terms I'm talking about? Only that the distance which they are covering, the time which they are spending for bringing the water to their homes from any kind of water source, for that one. So this is the time wasted, wastage of time for water transport, right? Water transport from water source, from home to water source, right? And from water source to home, right? So during this time, during this period, whatever time they're actually spending, that is actually the wastage of time, only unnecessary wastage of time, but that they have to do, obviously. So that is the thing over here. So what should be our step actually? The step is to maintain the water source. The water source should be actually not very far from the houses, right? They should be as close as possible to the water. If it is not inside the house, then it should be it should be there in a close proximity to the household, mainly in the rural areas. In urban areas it might be there, in many places it is there, right? In the inside the home only, we are fortunate enough that we are having that. But the thing is, in many places in the urban areas also, still the people have to suffer, and still the people are suffering from this problem, that they have to travel a lot for only the water, right? Of course, for the drinking water. So that is the thing over here. Now next point over here, guys, we shall talk about some of the norms of the water supply, right? So what are the different norms of the water supply? Let's talk about them as well, because sometimes they are asking us about these important norms. Okay, so very simple. For the drinking water, guys, for the drinking water, we are saying that how much water is sufficient for us. Usually we should be taking around 1 to 5 liters of water per day. Obviously, if you divide the age group, then it will be becoming different, but I am saying the range only. So it will be different for the children, it will be different for the, obviously, the adult age group or the elderly age group. So over here we are talking about that what is the normal range of water should be the people should be drinking. That is around 1 to 5 liters of water per day. So for the drinking purpose, I am saying, right, for the drinking purpose, I am saying that 1 to 5 liter of water per day should be consumed per person, right? Obviously it depends on the age group and all. Second point over here is, two factor I would like to highlight. Then in rural areas, and in the urban areas. Firstly, let me talk about the rural areas over here. In rural areas, uh, if I will be talking about the water consumption, they are saying that initially they were saying that 30 to 40 liters per capita per day should be used as far as water is concerned. But now, according to the 12th 5-year plan, right, it was a recent update only, that 12th 5-year plan, they says that now instead of 40, they have actually increased this limit. They are saying that almost around 55 liter per capita per day is the requirement for the rural areas people. So they are saying that 55 liter per capita per day requirement is there as far as rural peoples are concerned. And for the urban people, in urban areas it is more. In urban areas they are saying that 150 to 200 liter per capita per day. So if in case in exam they will be asking you, please mark these values as your answer. So instead of 40 in the rural area, especially 55 liter should be your answer, guys. 55 liter per capita per day. And I'm giving this update according to the 12th 5-year plan. Okay, so that is the thing. If in case MCQ comes, then you should be marking this as your answer, right? So guys, I was talking about the wastage of the money which is actually happening, that is around 150 million US dollars, and that is just because of the transportation of water, and just because the time which they are spending, that much time they are spending for bringing the water to their homes. I will be saying that as close as possible, if the water source will be coming to their household, they can actually save the time, right? So the time wastage would be actually not be seen, and that is a very good sign for the people itself for living in their homes and for the country sake also. So obviously they want to bring it. So what criteria actually they are saying, from the government side, they are saying that in the rural areas, if we are talking about the source of water, in the urban areas usually source of water is close, usually it is actually close to the household only, right? But for the rural areas especially, they are saying that the water source from the house, it should be within a radius of around 100 meters, right? And the time taken which they are actually spending from house to the water source and then just bringing it back also, it should not be more than 30 minutes. For an example, I am saying that if this is a house, guys, right, if this is a house, okay, this is the house over here, and let's say this is the water source, right? This is the water source over here, this is the water source. Usually this is the well, so that's why I'm trying to make the well over here, okay, right? So for example, this is the well, right? Okay, this is the well over here, right? This is the well. They are saying that the distance between these two things, well, this is the water source, I mean, and the house, it should not be more than 100 meters. So it should be less than 100 meters only, right? Especially in the rural areas. And the time taken which they are spending from their house to the water source, from the water source back to the house, right? And obviously if they will be moving to the water source, many people from the village, they will be coming over there to collect the water. So it's not that they will be going there and just coming back, right? They have to wait for there as well. So that is also the wasting of the time as well, right? So that's the thing. So here the time taken, if I will be talking about, this is the distance, d for distance, and t for time, if I am considering. So time taken should be less than 30 minutes, guys. Time taken should be less than 30 minutes. That is the motto over here in the rural area especially, right? If you are clear with that, now we shall talk about the sources of the water, right? So now if you guys talk about the sources of water supply, right, we are having many sources of the water. For example, rain, right? Now rain is the purest form of water, which we are saying. Rain is the purest form of water in nature, as it is having very low TDS, total dissolved solids. TDS in detail I will be talking about in the next session, okay? But over here, let me tell you that if you talk about the rain, guys, okay, rain is the purest form of water. It is the purest form of water because it is having very low TDS. Okay, please do remember that. Now it is a prime source of all water, right? Purest form of water, right, coming from the god itself. Now here, let me tell you, surface water and the groundwater are also the important sources for the waters, right, for the water supply. Surface water, we are seeing that on the earth surface. For an example, there could be the impending reservoirs, right? There could be the rivers, streams, canals, sea, okay, all of oceans, all of these are the surface water supply. And the tanks, ponds and lakes, okay, sometimes how the question is coming, which of the following is a groundwater source, which of the following is a surface water source, and they will mix up the options from the surface water and the groundwater. You have to actually identify that which was actually, for example, well is an example of source, well is an example of groundwater, or the or I will be saying that as surface water. So well is an example of groundwater, right? So that's how you should be able to differentiate it. So that's why these examples are very important, so please do not ignore them. If you talk about the groundwater, there are the wells, shallow wells, deep wells, okay, and this will be our important discussion also. So, and the springs also, they are actually the groundwater sources, right? So you should know surface water sources and the groundwater sources, right? Now some important points I would like to address over here about the impending reservoirs. About the impending reservoir, they are also called as the embankment ponds, right? They are also called as embankment ponds, right? Now actually what happens is if you talk about the impending reservoir, basically we are saying that what if you are saying the drainage of the impending reservoir, actually it is coming from the dam. The dam over there is a catchment area. Actually for an example, what happens is, for example, this is the dam over here, right? I mean this is the water source over here, okay, this is the water, this is the river for an example, and here it could be the dam, right? The government can make the dam over here, right? And through dam what is happening, some of the water is actually flowing like that, right? So this particular area will be actually the reservoir, right? Let me show you the diagram also, guys, so that you are not confusing yourself anymore. For an example, look at this diagram. I will just take this diagram above so that we are actually addressing this particular point over there itself, right? Okay, so now guys, look over here, look over here. So what I am saying is here in this picture, what I am seeing that this is the dam, as you can see, this is the dam over here, and I can see this area is the reservoir, right? This area is the reservoir, and this over here you can say this could be the river. So this is the impending reservoir, and impending reservoir is a quite good source for the water supply. If you talk about rain is the purest form. I told you rain is the purest form of water in the nature. After the rain, if I will be talking about, right, then I will talk about that this is the second best form of water which can be used for the drinking purpose, right? Providing that you are doing the proper chlorination of the water. I will talk about the chlorination of the water in the next session, don't worry about that. So that is the thing. So this is the impending reservoir, right? And usually they are asking you that area draining into the impending reservoir, this area which is draining into the impending reservoir, right? This is called as the catchment area of the dam, catchment areas of the dam, because it is catching over the water, it is holding over the water, so that this particular water can be used for the drinking purpose, for any kind of community, any kind of population, for any kind of village or something like that. Are you understanding? So this is the term for the impending reservoir which I wanted to address over here. So impending reservoir, if they're asking you the area draining, what area is draining into the impending reservoir, this is this particular area, this is the catchment area of dam, right? So over here I would like to address very important point, okay? I'm emphasizing once again that if they are asking us that the area draining into impending reservoir, right, then it will be the catchment area, impending reservoir, then it will be the catchment area of the dam, right? Catchment area of the dam, okay, catchment area of the dam, right? So this will be the catchment area of the dam, okay? I hope you got the point, okay? So here I wanted to say that this is the river and this is the impending reservoir, okay, and the water is flowing like that, okay? So you understand that, okay guys? So once we are clear with that, now we shall be moving on to the important point of discussion for the today's session, that is the wells, right? So let's talk about the wells, guys. Let's talk about the wells. We shall be having two different kinds of wells, right? Now let's talk about the wells over here. The wells are widely used in India and mainly in the rural areas, right? Obviously in the urban areas we are having different sources, but for the especially in the rural areas, right, you must have visited your villages and all, and over there you must have visited the wells as well, right? Some wells you might be seeing them, they might be very very old. So wells are having a good streak, right? So wells are actually very widely used across India. So very first point which I want to write, that obviously wells are very widely used in India, widely used across India, right? And it is a source of what? Surface water or groundwater? I told you that it is a source of groundwater. Shallow wells, deep wells, they are the sources of groundwater. Okay. Now there are two main types, guys. One could be the shallow wells and one could be the deep wells. Shallow wells means they are not they are not digged into deeper into the earth, I would say. So if they are present shallow on the earth surface, then shallow beneath the earth surface, then these are called the shallow wells. If they are actually went deep into the deep beneath the earth surface, then they will be called as the deep wells. So over here let me address some of the important points about the shallow and the deep wells. So shallow wells, guys, taps water from above the first impervious layer, between the if you will be going below the earth, right, you are digging the earth over there, so you will be having different layers of the earth, right? First of all, you'll be having sand, then in first impervious layer, then again the sand is there, then the gravels are there, stones are there. So all of these things are there, and at last we are having the water also. So wells, I told you, shallow well are not going that much deep, but the deep wells are going that much deep. Shallow wells means going shallow only, deep wells are going in the deep. So shallow wells, if I talk about, taps water from above the first impervious layer only, whereas if you talk about the deep well, they are actually going below the first impervious layer or the impermeable layer, impervious or impermeable layer. Now if you talk about shallow well, these are the water would be moderately hard water, right? Moderately hard water. I will talk about the classification of the water. It could be the moderately hard, it could be the safe water, or I would say soft water, then moderately hard water, and the very hard water, or severely hard water. I will talk about the classification in the next sessions. Okay, so don't worry about that. So deep well, they are more hard as compared to the shallow wells, right? Because they are going deep, they are bringing the water from the deep part of the surface of the earth, right? They are often grossly contaminated, right? And here if we talk about, they are usually pure water. Why they could be often contaminated? Why they could be often contaminated? Because what usually happens is, I will show you this diagram, okay, and this should serve the purpose, I guess. If you will see, guys, over here right now in the front of your picture, right, what we are seeing, that here for an example there could be the pit latrine, right? Here we are seeing there could be the pit latrine, and here we are seeing that there is a shallow well, right? We are seeing that there is a shallow well, right? And here it is the deep well, right? I am trying to show it with the pointer. This is a shallow well and this is the deep well, right? Shallow well might be contaminated. Why? Because from the pit latrine, so contaminants might be coming and they might contaminate this shallow well. But here we are seeing that deep well are deeply, they are deep going, so they are actually present. This was the first impermeable layer, so it is before the impermeable layer only the shallow well is giving the water. But if you talk about the deep well, they are actually going much deep, they are actually penetrating the impermeable layer also, and they are presenting in this particular layer. So the deep well, they will be having as usually less contaminated water if you compare it with the shallow well, right? I hope that served the purpose of this one. Now usually what happens is, because they are shallow well, they might be dry in the summer seasons, and if you talk about the deep wells, obviously because they are deep, so that's why they might be having the constant supply of water, right? I hope you understood the basic idea that what's the difference between the shallow wells and the deep wells, right? Now we shall move on to one more important type of well, that is the artesian well. However, it is not very commonly used in India, right? It is not found in India actually, but not common in India. But let's talk about the artesian well. Still the questions might be asked, so let's talk about that as well. So artesian well, guys, what happens is that in the artesian well we are saying that it is a type of deep well, right? Please remember, it's a type of deep well. So is it a type of shallow well or deep well? It is a type of deep well. But if the question comes in case, but here, the water is actually rising to the surface due to pressure, right? The water rises to the surface due to actually pressure with which the water is actually coming to the surface, and that's how it is coming outside, right? So between two impervious or impermeable layers, actually the water is coming. Look at this particular diagram, right? Here what I am saying is that, look at this one. This is one pervious layer or impermeable layer, and this is first impervious layer, this is the second impervious layer, right? You are seeing impervious or the impermeable rock. Between these two impermeable layers, you can see this particular layer. Okay, I will change the color. You can see this particular layer, right? Aquifer. And from this layer only, the water is coming outside. The water is coming outside, So this is the well. Which well? Artesian well. This is the well. Which well? Artesian well. Now, in this particular well, the water will be coming out continuously, right? Continuously. Why is it so? Because it is having the recharge areas. How I mean the recharge areas? I mean, look, here, let's say the rainfall happens. There were the clouds present over there, and due to the clouds, what happens? Rain happened, right? Due to the raining, what will happen? This water will be pouring into this particular layer, right? And from here also the raining will be happening, and the water will be actually going through this particular layer, and this water will be keep on recharging the surface of the water, keep on recharging this particular layer of the water. And that's how that this well is actually having the water from this particular layer only. So that's why, due to the continuous recharge, right, from the raining itself, the continuous recharge will be happening from the raining, right, from the clouds. So that's why this particular artesian well will be having the supply of water continuously throughout the seasons, right? So that is the artesian well. So here what you are seeing over here also they are saying that when a well is bored into the aquifer, the layer between the two impermeable membranes, when the well will be bored up to that layer, then what will happen? The water which is under pressure gushes out spontaneously. This well is called as the artesian well. So there are two layers: first impermeable layer, then the aquifer layer, and then the second impermeable layer. Between the two impermeable layer, there is the aquifer layer, and aquifer layer, this will be having the water continuously because having two recharge points. To the recharge points, every time the water is coming in it, and if you are digging the well till that layer, then water will be coming out spontaneously throughout the seasons, right? That is called as your which well? Artesian well. Once we are clear about the artesian well, according to the construction now, we shall be having two more kinds of wells. That is, one is the dug well, and another one could be the tube well, right? So let's talk about the dug well first. So in the dug well, we are saying that we might be having two wells. One could be the unlined kacha well. You might be visited the kacha well in your villages. Then it could be the Pucca well, right? Again, you might see them in your towns or something like that. So there could be the kacha well and there could be the Pucca well, right? In the Pucca well, there could be one more type of well, that is the step well. I will show you the picture as well. There is a step well, but this is obsolete nowadays because in the step well, what is happening? I will show you the image also, right? Don't worry about that. I will show you the image also. For an example, here you can see these are the step well, right? What is happening? This people, this particular guy is actually bathing in this particular well. He is also bathing. He is actually preparing for the bathing in this particular well, right? So what will happen, guys? The people can come in, the people can go away, right? Go out from these particular stairs and all, right? So what can happen? People can come into this wall, and into this well, and then people just can go out. So they can contaminate the water, obviously. So can you imagine to drink this water now? The whole community is depending on this particular well, and they will be, taking the water from the well, and then, many people are actually using the water for the, drinking purpose and all, for making the food and all of those things. So these kind of things might contaminate the water. So that's why, due to the contamination risk, this kind of wells, they are actually not considered the water sources anymore for the drinking purpose, right? So that's why they are obsolete now. Okay, I hope you got the idea. That's why I was saying that. So I was talking about the dug well, guys. So there could be the kacha well, there could be the Pucca well, and these step well are also considered as the Pucca well, but they are obsolete now. They are not used anymore, right? So Pucca wells, they are open wells. They are the health hazard. Just open wells. You just dig the well and just left it like that. So this is the dug well. right? This will be the dug well. Okay, so improvement of the dug wells might be done, you can actually deepening the bottom of the well, installing the hand pump over there, right? So that you can increase the hygiene purpose. Then construction of platform and the drainage, right? That should be there. Upper 10 feet of the lining watertight and raised 1 feet above the ground, right? These are for the hygiene purpose. They will serve the purpose of hygiene as far as these wells are concerned. There should be the concrete slab to cover the well also, because a lot of impurities might be entering the well if it will be remaining open. So these are the dug wells. So there could be the kacha well and there could be the pucca well. These are the most common type of well in India, guys. These are the most common type of well in India. It could be kacha or pucca, but these are the most common type of well in India, right? Now in the rural areas we are seeing that it could be the kacha and it could be the pucca well. Basically you are seeing that in many places there are the kacha wells, but which is better one? Obviously the pucca well is the better one. It is made up of the cement and the stones and the rocks and the it is cemented actually. And I will be talking about the wells in detail, okay, that how the sanitary well looks like, right? And I told you about the step well also, that basically we are saying that it is obsolete now, because the people will be going in over there and coming out, then it might contaminate the water present in that well. So that's why it is obsolete now, these days, right? Okay, now once we have talked about the dug wells, now we shall come over to the tube wells, right? We shall come over to the tube wells. In the tube wells we are seeing that they are comparatively bacteriologically safe and they are cheaper also, right? So what we are seeing, you can see the tube well. Okay, I'm sure that you must have visited this place in your villages, and you must have took the bath over there as well, if you were lucky enough. So these are the tube wells which you are seeing these days also, right? In today itself also we are seeing that these are the tube wells used to irrigate the crop fields, right, by the farmers and all. So these are the tube wells, guys. Here the comparatively, if you talk about, they are bacteriologically safe and cheaper way. So pipe will be actually sunk into the water bearing stratum, and it will be fitted with a strainer at the bottom, and the hand pump will be there, or a motor will be there at the top. You must have visited this place, okay? So all of you know this very well. So average for about they can last up to 5 to 10 years, right? Depends upon the places to places also. Sometimes even up to 30 years as well. So deep tube wells, they will be sinking deep in the earth, right? They will be drilling through the successive strata of the gravel or the rock, so they will be very deep inside. Usually the flow of water will be very, very high over here, right? So this is the thing over here. Several hundred meters they might be deep, and it needs the mechanical drilling equipment, and that much amount of force we need. It will be having the separate motor system and all, so that it will be working, right? So once you have talked about the dug well and the tube well, right? One more thing, in the tube well itself we are talking about two categories. One could be the shallow tube well and one could be the deeper tube well. I already explained you the criteria of the shallow and the deeper tube well. That shallow might be having some contaminated water, deep could be having some pure water as compared to the shallow one. So all of these points we have actually talked about. So one more point, I would like to mention that tube wells can be actually having the category of shallow well and the deeper well, right? There might be shallow wells, right? And there might be the deeper wells or the deep wells. Okay, simply in the tube wells itself. And in the shallow wells, basically we are saying that they are the, I would say, the driven wells. They are the driven wells. You are using the hand pump for them, right? And for the deeper tube well, they are the bore wells. They're the bore wells. So here just remember the difference also. They are the driven wells where you need the hand pump and all. You must have used the hand pump in your childhood and all. The driven wells, and this is the deeper wells. Here we are talking about the bore wells, right? Where the water might be dry. I told you shallow pump is which one? Driven well. So here the water might be dry, but if you talk about the deeper well, here the water might not be dry. So they will not be dry because this is deeper, deeper beneath the earth. Okay, guys. Comparatively, I told you it is bacteriologically safe and all. So that's why as compared to the dug well, it is comparatively safer to drink and all, right? So now we are having the manually operated. Firstly you are having the hand pump and all. The hand pump might also be the shallow well and the deeper well. In the deeper well you have to put the lot of pressure, lot of force, lot of work has to be done over there so that you are extracting the water from the deeper layers of the earth, right? But if you talk about now, we are actually switching towards the mechanical form or the motor form. Now in your houses and all, there might be the functioning of the motors and all, right? So you just need to press the button and the motor will do its work, and that's how your your water will be coming right in your tap and all. So that is the thing between the shallow well and the deeper wells over here, right? So power operated, nowadays we are actually switching over to the power operated system, right? Okay, so now we shall talk about the sanitary wells, guys. Sanitary wells. So here also I was showing that this is the power operated tube well. Okay, fine. Now we shall move on to the sanitary well, guys. Sanitary well. So if you talk about the sanitary well, guys, it is properly located, and it is well constructed and well protected against the contamination, right? So if you talk about the location, actually it should be at higher elevation, so that contamination risk is very, very less, and should be not less than 5 meter or 5 or 50 feet, okay, from likely source of contamination. I told you already that we are trying that the water source from the household should be actually within a limit of 100 meters only, within a range of 100 meters only, and the time which they are spending should not be more than 30 minutes, right? Should not be more than 30 minutes. I told you already about that. And no user should have to carry for water more than 100 meters. I told you already, this is a very important point, and that is a motto also. And lining bricks or stones set in cement up to a depth of 6 meters, and this is kind of a Pucca well, so that water enters from the bottom, not from the sides, right? Because if the water will be coming from the side, it can contaminate the water again. So that's why this is the thing, should be carried 2 to 3 feet above the ground level, right? So that is the thing about the sanitary well over here. Some more points, it should be covered on the top. Some more points I would like to cover over here, that it should be covered on the top. If you talk about the sanitary well, okay, sometimes I'm calling that as walls, I'm sorry for that, it is a well actually. Then I told you that it could be a kacha well and the Pucca well. Basically, if you talk about a sanitary well, this should be a Pucca well. It should be lined with the bricks and the stones, well cemented. If you talk about the boundary wall, we have already talked about that. It should be more than 3 feet. 2 to 3 feet should be there. That is should be more than that at some places. 2 to 3 feet above the ground level. If you talk about, and cemented ground should be there around the wall, right? That should be the cemented ground. There should be the cemented ground around the wall, around the well, right? Around the well, okay. There should be cemented ground around the well, obviously. Then we have to make sure that contamination should not be entering into the well, right? How we can actually maintain that? There should be no washing of clothing, bathing and washing of utensils, vessels, and all of these things should not be happening nearby the well, because obviously it can actually contaminate the well actually, right? So probably ideally not in the radius of around 30 meters at least. There should not be these kind of activities, so that contamination of water should not be there. Because if you are contaminating the water, obviously then the whole community might be getting contaminated due to that. So these kind of things we should be actually making sure that water quality must be checked, right? Water quality must be checked. Then we need to do water quality, right? We need to do the chlorination of the water time to time, right? Water chlorination must be done. And usually the question comes how you are doing the water chlorination. However, I will be talking about the details of chlorination in the next session. So water chlorination must be done, and if we talk about the chlorination, guys, here we are doing the chlorination with the bleaching powder, right? That is also very important MCQ, that how you are doing the chlorination of water. As far as wells are concerned, we are doing that with the help of bleaching powder, right? How much amount of bleaching powder is used and all, we will be talking about that in the next particular session, okay? Don't worry about that. Now one more thing, the heavy metal contamination and the other kind of contamination should not be actually entering the well and all. So please we need to make sure about that as well. So no heavy contamination and all of these things, right? Okay, no heavy contamination around the well and all, right? It should not be entering the well particularly. These important points we need to keep in mind if we are talking about the Pucca well over there, right? It should be having grounded above the level of the earth, right? 2 to 3 feet above the ground and all. It should be having a cemented area just around the well, for around in 1 meter should be the radius of that particular cemented area as well, right? That 1 meter radius should be there, 1 meter radius, okay? So for example, this is the well, guys, and this should be the radius, this I'm talking about, that this should be having the radius of around 1 meter. That is the thing over here. Okay, so now once we have talked about this particular thing, these are the important salient features of the sanitary wells, right? Now we shall talk about after that non-sanitary well. Non-sanitary well, you know, these are non-cemented well, and these are the kacha well usually, right? They will be the non-sanitary well. And then I told you about the step well, that step wells are obsolete now. These are the part of your deeper wells, but they are usually not used these days because there is always a risk of the contamination over there, right? So here you can see that these are the step wells. These are the step well not used nowadays. These are the obsolete wells, right? Why we are not using that? Because there is a risk of contamination. Then you can see very well over here that these are the tube wells, right? These are the tube wells. Over here you can see beautifully the water is coming, right? And it will be used for the irrigation purpose, right? It is the motor driven system, right? Okay, so that was about the tuber wells, right? So this is the session where we have talked about the wells and some salient features about the water. And in the next session I will be talking about the chlorination of the water. What are the methods which we are using for the chlorination purpose, right? How much chlorination needs to be done for that particular water, that is also the thing. And what are the different kinds of methods for the storage purpose, and all of those things will be addressing those kind of important points in the next session. So please stay tuned, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Thank you.